5 terrible mistakes that students make when writing their C1 Advanced essays. Ooh, let's go! A B2 First essay requires you to talk about 3 prompts, and one of these prompts you will need to create yourself in your head. However, for the C1 Advanced essay, you don't need to do this. You only need to talk about 2 prompts. But that's not all. You don't simply need to discuss these 2 prompts. You need to compare and contrast them, because the question will ask you to decide which one is more important.
Look at this question, for example. It's not about including 2 prompts in your answer. The whole essay should be based around discussing which prompt is the most important.
Students often forget this. They will discuss the prompts, however, they won't compare and contrast them, and they won't come to a conclusion about which prompt is more important. And that's not good enough. And that's a terrible thing. So remember, the whole point of the C1 Advanced essay is to compare and contrast 2 prompts and decide which one is most important in relation to the question. If you don't do that, then, well, you're not answering the question, are you? And that's also a terrible thing. This may seem obvious, but it's not. An essay is one text, obviously, but this means that every part needs to be in some way connected to every other part. There needs to be a logical flow, a logical progression. For example, if I take your essay and put the paragraphs into a different order, someone should be able to read these paragraphs and rearrange them to put them in the correct order, because it should be obvious. Many students, for example, will discuss their 2 prompts separately without combining them together. And, well, this is actually 2 essays in one. That's not an essay, sorry. This is not good enough. The prompts need to be connected in some way, both within the paragraphs and between them.
Look at the Cambridge marking scheme. To get a 5 in organisation, the text must be a well-organised, coherent whole. An introduction should introduce the topic and state the aim of the text. This should include which 2 prompts you have chosen to write about. You should then include 1 paragraph for each of your prompts, relating them to the topic and the question. Your 4th paragraph should compare and contrast the prompts in relation to the question. And finally, your conclusion should summarize the essay and present your opinion. Remember, your opinion must be related to what you have already stated in the essay.
So again, make sure that your essay has a logical structure. And of course, I can help you with that right here. If you want your essay to be logical and to follow a structure, then you need to plan. I'm sorry, but you do. I know it's boring, but if you don't plan, the examiner will know that you didn't. Trust me, the examiner will know. This is because it is very difficult to ensure that every single part of your essay is connected logically if you haven't planned it before writing it. So, before you start writing your essay, make sure you at least understand the following. Number 1, what is the topic? Number 2, what prompts are you going to choose? Number 3, what is the question? Number 4, how can we connect our chosen prompts to the topic and the question? And number 5, how can we connect our prompts together to form a coherent whole? And yeah, I get it. You're probably looking at that thinking, oh my god, that sounds really difficult. That sounds more difficult than writing the essay itself. Well, yeah, the work is in the planning, not in the writing. And if you want to learn all about planning, then watch this here. In order to score a 5 in communicative achievement, you need to communicate complex ideas in an effective way.
So, what are complex ideas? Well, a straightforward idea is usually concrete in nature, while a complex idea is of a more abstract nature and covers a wider subject area.
So, what does this mean? To make an idea abstract, we need to speculate. Instead of talking about how something is, we should talk about how something should be or could be. Instead of talking about how something was, we should talk about how something could have been or how something should have been. This means you should be using modal verbs. You should be using conditionals. You should be using the subjunctive. Up there, subjunctive. Great video. In order to cover a wider subject area, we should refrain from using our personal experiences as examples.
Instead, for example, if we are talking about whether museums should receive public funding, we should talk about what the repercussions could be for society in general if museums did not receive public funding, or why it would not matter if money that currently goes to museums went towards public gardens.
Notice in this example how we are talking about wider societal issues and not about our personal issues. And this is exactly what is meant by covering a wider subject area. So, remember to speculate and remember to answer the question as it relates to society in general and not only to you. If you do that, then you will be communicating complex ideas and then you will be on your way to scoring a 5 in communicative achievement. And that's a great thing, so well done. The C1 Advanced essay needs to be between 220 and 260 words long. This is not short, especially when you should only be talking about 2 prompts in relation to the question. In order to reach the required word count, some students may start including irrelevant information. Irrelevant information is any information not related to the prompt, the topic, or the question.
For example, in this essay we have chosen to talk about museums and public gardens. If we discuss sports centres, we are including irrelevant information. If we talk about the benefits of museums but with no mention of how this relates to public funding, then we are also including irrelevant information.
Remember, everything in your essay should have a point. When including a piece of information, you should ask yourself 2 questions. Why does the reader need to know this? And how does it help me answer the question? If you can't answer those 2 questions in your head, then don't include that sentence because it's not necessary. In order to get a 5 in content, all content you include in your essay must be relevant to the task. So, if it's not essential for the reader to know, and it's not essential in order for you to answer the question, then don't include it. Yes? Yes. And with that, we are finished. Those were the 5 biggest mistakes that students make when writing their C1 Advanced essays. If you liked the video, don't forget to smash that like button, subscribe if you haven't already, leave a comment down below. My name is Toby, and this was Smash English.